Hello, friends. I'm back. Um, so today I wanted to make a video because it's IBD Awareness Week. And I was thinking about what kind of video I wanted to make. And I do need to continue my series of videos about my personal Crohn's experience, but for this video, I really wanted to try and talk about the perspective that I've gained through my experience with Crohn's disease. So I think what I've seen a lot of on this IBD Awareness Week is people talking about some of the things that they've had to go through in dealing with their chronic illness, whether that be surgeries they've had to deal with, how many times they've been hospitalized, ways in which living with IBD impacts their lives or the people around them. And I've kind of talked about that. If you want to see what Crohn's is like in this most specific sense, I could refer you to my videos and hopefully I'll make more of them. But I want to talk about the way in which I see the world and how my experience with Crohn's disease has helped give me the perspective that I have, and talk about how I'm truly grateful for that perspective. One of the things that I kind of struggle with is when talking about my Crohn's disease and my experiences, that people feel sympathy and they say I'm sorry, and they don't think it's nice that I've had to go through so much pain and suffering. And while I appreciate that, I don't really like seeing people sad, and especially don't like seeing people be sad for me. And the response I usually come up with is that I really am truly grateful for this perspective that this experience has given me. And I have struggled for a while with how to communicate what that perspective is and why I feel like it's so valuable. What I usually do is talk about a hypothetical that I've thought about. Sometimes when not so great things happen, we ruminate about how things would be different if that thing didn't happen. And in some sense, it's a bit of a waste of time, but I think it kind of gave me some clarity about how I think about my experience with Crohn's. When I pose myself the hypothetical, like, would I trade my perspective for health? I immediately reject that. And I feel that's fairly profound. I don't even really let my mind go down what that would even mean and what life would even look like. I just immediately reject it because somewhere inside, I know how valuable the perspective I have is. At one point in college, when I wasn't doing very well, I put a bunch of quotes on my wall. One of the quotes I like the most is, Out of suffering have emerged the strongest of souls. The massive characters are seared with scars. That's by Khalil Gibran. I don't know anything else about him other than that quote, and I really, really like that quote. And over my years of childhood, I read quite a bit of Calvin and Hobbes and developed the perspective that misery and pain build character. And I do believe that. However, I've been through quite a bit of misery and pain, and the perspective that I have and that I value has a lot to make up for. I've talked about, what Crohn's is, and a lot of the problems that I have to deal with having Crohn's. And you can go look through my videos if you want to know in more detail what it's kind of like. But just to kind of run down the list, I've lived through lifetimes of pain and discomfort. In the past 10 years, a lot of that time has been filled with pain, like physically, and discomfort. It really is one of the words I want to try and communicate. Pain is one thing. It's just being uncomfortable for an extended period of time. It's uncomfortable. And that's pain, that's nausea, that's bloating, that's fatigue, that's fevers, it's diarrhea, it's always being too hot, too cold, it's my skin being horrible, it's having a brain fog, it's being malnourished, it's being anxious, it's being depressed, it's all that, and generally at the same time. And living through, a couple hours of that is unthinkable. Even for me now, to say that, it really is unbelievable that I put up with the amount of that for the amount of time that I did. And it's not just dealing with the moment of discomfort, it's dealing with the memory of, months and months and months before feeling all that. And the fatigue that puts on you physically and mentally, knowing that you've had to go through all that and that you're still going through that, dealing with the moment of pain and discomfort. And then the hardest part is accepting that for the foreseeable future it's going to be like that too. Being in that much pain and discomfort and knowing that tomorrow I was going to feel like that, and for a week I was going to feel like that, for the next month I was going to feel like that. It takes a lot of strength to go through that and to believe that it will get better eventually when it hasn't got better for so long. And you can't expect it to get better for so long. That's a lot to carry. I think it might be possible to describe the state of discomfort and pain through words and experiences, but I can't accurately describe the fear and dread that I felt seeing my future filled with that much pain and misery. It's extremely intimidating. and, you know, predictably very hard. Um, there were definitely moments where all that weight broke my spirit, and where it was very hard to call on the hope and belief inside me that life would not be like that at one point. I remember moments where I accepted death. And that's not quite giving up. But to be in a place where life is so uncomfortable that you're willing to accept the nothingness of death to relieve the misery that you're in, it's a really bad and dark place. I would go to bed, I'd go to bed and I'd think, it's possible I don't get up tomorrow. And I accepted that. I wasn't scared of it, which is really scary to look back on. For life to be so heavy that the most final thing doesn't scare you. It scared me for the people in my life. I'd been given a lot of support and love. And I think that's a big part of what kept me going, was I couldn't give up for the people who had given up on me. It's not something that's not something I could accept. I knew all the pain I was going through, but I could imagine the pain that that would put other people through if I gave up. That wasn't acceptable. And that's definitely one of the reasons why I held on, and I kept trying to find things in life that made it worth it. So that's a lot. That's a lot of pain and misery to make up for. So what kind of perspective is worth all of that? This is the part I have difficulty describing, because I think it's things that are known. I had a lot of help and a lot of love. I think that's the first thing I want to start with is love. It's a confusing thing, and it's the one word doesn't quite describe all the different ways in which it works in between people and inside yourself. But a lot of people loved and cared about me, and that's beautiful. And that's something that's worth all of this pain. I think at the time when it was very hard, I had enough hope and optimism in me to keep going. And now I'm a lot better. And life isn't nearly as uncomfortable. It's still pretty confusing, and there are things that are uncomfortable and that I wish didn't exist. But I've been thinking about the things that make my perspective valuable, because it has a lot to make up for. You know, all that pain, it has to make up for the fact that I don't really know what path I'm taking in life. You know, I haven't been able to complete college. I haven't really been able to pursue my career. And probably haven't been able to interact in as many relationships as I want. But it's worth it. And I think it's worth it because when I think about the person that I've become through this entire experience, I'm so proud that I haven't let all the pain and misery corrupt me and make me cynical. I'm proud to know that I've seen and been in some of the darkest places a human being can be in. And that even in those places I've seen the beauty that exists in the world, and I've decided that it's worth it. I'm so grateful of the person that I've become. I know I am more loving, I'm more grateful, I'm more empathetic, I'm more trusting, I'm more forgiving, I'm more honest, I'm more hopeful, and I'm freer than the person I was and the person I would be if I didn't go through all these things. I want that to inspire people. I want to inspire people who are going through horrible things and who are pessimistic and cynical about the world. There are so many little things that are beautiful and that make all of this suffering worth dealing with. I think I've said a lot of what I want to say, and I know there's something more I want to say. I don't know what it is. I think I would like to ask you to believe in the things that are good about this world and this life, because they exist, and they make all the hard things that you are going through, that you've been through, and that you will go through worth it. I want to say thank you to all of the people that have helped me keep living this life, to be in a position where I do see all these beautiful things about the world and about life. I'm so grateful that for the people who have shown me love, when love is the only thing that helped. I hope anybody who's going through a hard time can really focus to see the things that make it worth it. All of that is part of the perspective that I've gained through this. And all of that I wouldn't trade for anything. And I've really been wanting to share it. I hope you appreciate it. That's it. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a good day.